Hi, Joby. Welcome to our knowledge series session, Meet the Founder. Super glad to have you here. Uh, maybe, if, you know,
Thank you, Jibin.
Absolutely. Maybe, before we start, if you can give us a quick, brief intro about yourself, that'd be great.
Right. ഞാൻ ജോബി ജിബിൻ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ എൻ്റെ പേര് ഐ ആം ദ ഫൗണ്ടർ ഓഫ് ഫ്രഷേഴ്സ് വേൾഡ് ഇറ്റ്സ് ബീൻ എ ലോങ് ജേർണി ഇൻഫാക്ട് ഫ്രഷേഴ്സ് വേൾഡ് started around 2006, and then further I've run it for around 12 years right now.
Right.
And we so make it very short, we have run it for 12 years and then currently had an exit, and then it's been acquired, and we had a 3 year time period to continue there, and then further I've moved out from freshers world, and then currently I'm doing some angel investing as well as looking for my next venture. So I'm getting my tools sharpened. I'm learning something. I'm meeting a lot of founders, a lot of startups, and probably in the next couple of months, I'll come out with some new product, which some prototypes or POCs are already being done right now. That's where it is.
Awesome. So I think you almost covered all the questions that I have. I will go deeper into that, but maybe if we go back a little bit and about your starting journey in 2006. You had a brief stint in Wipro, and soon after you started, on your own. How has that journey been, and where did that all started?
Right. So after doing my engineering from Kerala, I moved to Bangalore looking for a job, and that was in early 2000. And that is when I came across the problem of job search for a fresher entry level guys.
Right.
The typical vicious circle that anybody comes across. If you don't have experience, you'll not get a job,
Right.
and then if you don't get a job, you cannot gain your experience. So that's a problem. So you should be lucky enough, or you should have a lot of help and support and tools around you to get your job. Unless you are lucky enough, happy enough to get it through a campus recruitment. So I was not that fortunate to get the campus recruitment. So I had to go to Bangalore, spend around 8 to 10 years to search and find the jobs and get trained and things like that. So that is where I learned the toughness of finding a job for a fresher, and that was within me. And then after that, I got into Wipro. Initially, I got into CGI, another company, another services company. Then
Right.
I worked with Wipro, and during this time, the challenges which I've come across, of course, I've thought about creating a platform for helping these people, or creating a lot of resources, tools, content to help freshers find their job, and that is where the concept of freshers will came in. And initially, it was built as a blog or a content site,
Right.
and I was maintaining it offline, or even when I was working, I used to maintain this blog or a website. And it was in 2006 that I decided I'll quit my regular job, take it as
Okay.
a full time, and then still run it. So that was the thought for starting Freshers World.
Right.
And during those times, there were no content for freshers, or resources for searching jobs, or resources for interview tips, and resources for how to prepare your resume and things like that. So
Right.
the contents online were not available so much. So then suddenly it caught the attention of all the freshers across India, and then we grew and we started getting traffic.
Awesome. Who was your first hire, and which position was that person hired for, or first couple of hires
Right.
for that matter?
Correct. So what happened is, from 2006 when I quit my job, initially it's tough to hire. So we had a lot of freelancers or interns or freshers around me to help me, because anyway they were looking for job, and then they can also learn with me. So I had a couple of interns around me, and then started building the website. Mostly it was content aggregation and the technology to support the website.
Right.
Till I think next 2 3 years it went like that, and it was in 2009-10 that the necessity for building a core team around me or with freshers were, and building all divisions of the company, like the sales team, marketing team, content team, no technology turmoil, well, specifically building each team and driving it forward. It all came in 2009 and 10, and that is when we started building a team, which was could be roughly around 20 people, and then we in a span of 1 or 2 years we had most of the team, and then I can say by that time it was a professional company with team in place and structure in place and revenues coming in, and then by that time we started helping companies in terms of getting their recruitments done. So whenever companies wants to hire freshers or hire from campuses, we used to support them and we used to extend our services. So that is where we started getting some revenue from the corporates.
So great. One of the other questions that I had, I know that Freshers World was a bootstrap company throughout, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what was the decision behind that? You really wanted to run it that way, or did you thought about fundraising at some point in time? What was the decision behind running full time bootstrap, growing your company? What was your thesis behind that?
Correct. So in our case, we were lucky enough. In fact, as I said, from 2006 when we started, we used to have huge traffic because we've been only the portal available for freshers, and there were plenty of freshers in the market. I'm saying the number of graduates who pass out in India are growing every day, and there were plenty of them looking for jobs or resources or content. So we used to have huge traffic, and hence we used to get a lot of advertisement revenue from that end.
Okay.
In fact, that's been good enough for us to sustain. I'm saying sustain and more with respect to our team, officers, other challenges, technology, and kind of stuff. So then I would say we were always profitable or at least on a break-even mode, and we never needed too much of money for ourselves because we were sustaining with our own revenue, which is coming in terms of ad revenue.
Right.
And later, when we started catering to corporates, of course, we started getting other revenue streams in terms of corporates paying us and things like that.
Right.
So I would say throughout our startup journey, we were making enough money for us to sustain, and cash or the burnout was not a problem for us at any of the time. Of course, for any startup, raising fund is a good idea.
Right.
Provided we have some bigger scaling plans or plans to scale and things are in place, and you find a bigger opportunity, and then if you need to have cash to scale your company, then you'll have to raise your fund. But in our case, since we were very specific to the entry level hiring and fresher segment, we didn't see a very big scaling opportunity, and hence the funding and too much of cash was not necessary. So then fortunately we could scale through the money that we used to make every month, and then we were comfortable.
Right. Okay, great. Coming to that growth journey, one of the aspects that I wanted to pick up is that your YouTube channel. We have a small segment towards the end that has a picture of it, but wanted to quickly pick your brain on that. You have about more than 1 million subscribers there. Received the golden,
Right.
and in fact, we had a conversation offline about this as well. So, how has that impacted the content creation in video impacted the business, and also getting to that 1 million plus subscribers also helped you, and the journey also.
Correct. So I think with Freshers World we have scaled through the journey of evolution of internet content consumption, I would say.
Okay.
Because we have started with a website when websites were getting popular, and initially in the website we had, at some point, our discussion forum was popular.
Right.
And later part, our content on the website were popular. There are different times when today I don't think any discussion forums or people are interested to go into discussion forum.
Right.
And I would say from maybe 2012, 13, people started liking content in video shape than in a website shape.
Right.
So especially the content for, let's say, interview tapes, resume preparation, aptitude preparation, and kind of stuff. We used to have a lot of content on the site, and during those times we used to have huge traffic. But later we figured out people are liking content in the video format, or
Right.
people love to listen than reading. So that is where we thought about our YouTube channel, and it was in 2015 end. I would say it was in 2016 beginning that we launched our YouTube channel. And then we started moving our content, which is all these preparation tapes and helps and career information and things like that. into the YouTube channel, and then we started presenting each of the content. I think we have touched around 1,100 or 1,200 videos, and we initially focused on videos of getting videos of 3 to 5 minutes rather than having a long video short and where people will get bored visiting them. So starting from 2006, 16, I'm saying. Um, uh, uh, we used to get a lot of search on the YouTube. And the ideal fact is today, YouTube is the second biggest search engine apart from Google.
Right.
And today, if you have any content, anything to search, people go to YouTube and search. I'm saying if you have an interview tomorrow, you will search there rather than go to website and read through and then try to get info.
In fact, absolutely, I did the same.
Correct. So we were at the right time during 2015-16 to start this channel and start putting in content. Though I was not personally there as a presenter because I'm not good at it, I didn't want to present. And by that time we had a good team. So we had set up a small YouTube team. I would say probably one full-time employee within the company, and then content was outsourced to content writers. Presenting was done by anchors, and then in Bangalore, our office was just near to the NIFT college.
Right.
So we were lucky to get enough anchors because they would love to present. And so we, and my point is, we didn't spend too much. We didn't. It is not a costly affair to set up a YouTube channel at that time because it was just one resource was handling it in my company, and all other things were getting outsourced or getting it done from other people outside. And we used to have a recording studio within our office in 2016 with the green screen and things like that. And then it started, and we started putting in. And I think in 2018 we got the silver button, which was crossing 1 lakh subscribers. And exactly within a year's time, which is 2019 February, we got our gold button where we crossed 1 million subscribers. And I would think today we have a lot of gold button YouTube channels in Malayalam or in Kerala as well. But I think looking from a Kerala company, I don't think even some of the popular Malayalam channels got golden button after we got it. We picked it up in February 2019. So that is a good initiative, and then it caught up. And today, I think we crossed around 1.5 million subscribers, and it's growing ever.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. So we talked a little bit about the growth journey. Now coming to the exit part of it, how did that happen? What was the connection there? How did you met with the team at TeamLease? How did that exit happen? When was the first touch point? How long did it take? And what was the conversation around it?
Correct. I think rather than putting it as a story, I think since this is more focused for entrepreneurs and startup guys who are running their show, I would want to take it up more academically, stating what was the need and how did we go and how should others do it. I don't know whether this will be a typical path for anybody because I did it from my own thought process and I did something and then picked it up. So in our case, what we did is, of course, the thought process was initially, as I mentioned, later part in 2015-16, our company growth was mostly like 20%, 25% or 30%.
Right.
And being a startup, I don't think anybody will appreciate it. I think for bigger structured companies, 20% to 30% growth year on year is a great thing.
Right.
But for startups, you would always want to grow 100%, 200% year on year. Otherwise, you're not doing great. And as founders, will not be happy driving it with full energy further. So we were in a very niche segment. The fresher segment was only so much, and then the monetization was limited, which we all know. I'm saying in India, the fresher candidates can never spend money, as well as companies wanting to hire freshers. They will say, why will I pay for freshers? Because I can go to campus recruitment and then pick them easily, or otherwise also people are plenty available. So hence, the monetization is limited and the market was smaller. So I started thinking about, now we need to diversify, because I think at that time we were doing around 8 crore to 9 crore of revenue. We were profitable. We were all comfortable. We didn't have any challenge. But the question was, where is the bigger picture? How do we scale? Because if we keep growing 20%, it's not good enough. That is where I started exploring the nearby segments. It could be a learning segment. It could be recruitment for experienced people or higher segment,
Right.
or into other verticals of education and career counseling and things like that.
Right.
So when we explore multiple stuff, my thinking was, uh, that's a different business altogether. So if I'm to get into learning segment or career counseling segment or something else, which is again I'll have to start from zero and then do further. Of course, it is an aligned business for my company which we are currently doing, but still. So that is where we thought, if there are some takers for our company, or if we can do some strategic partnership or acquisition. In
Right.
terms of strategy also, if this fresher hiring is helping another bigger business as a strategic input for them,
Correct.
so then the value of this company or the value that we extend for the either the user base to get further jobs and take them to different careers and all that could be different.
Right.
Or even for company to that bigger company to scale, it will be a bigger benefit. So that is where it started. So I initially I scouted for some investment bankers to figure out what is our value, or is there any takers, what are the interested players, and try to
Correct.
find a match for us, I'm saying. So we have engaged an investment banker, and typically they will work on a retainer basis. So we'll have to pay them an X amount to
Right.
start working with you, and then there will be a percentage or the success percentage that you'll have to agree on the engagement and start on. So we started with it.
Right.
In fact, I think in 2016 we paid around 6 lakh to 8 lakh rupees to keep them on a retainer model for 6 months, and they will work for you for 6 months. They'll create all your case studies, all your presentations, and they will go meet and connect various companies and come to you or connect them with you for discussion. So in the 6 months time, we had met a lot of them. I would say most of the strategic companies in India, um, we had talked with them, and then somehow nothing materialized during that time.
Okay.
And then after 6 months period, even the investment banker came to know things are going to not going to happen. So they've also moved out, and then we again started further running into. I'm saying, running the startup further is always in the agenda. So we've been keep
Right.
doing it. Of course, we were doing a good job. We were growing. And further, I think after 1 year, again in 2017, again I thought of connecting with people. I thought this time I'll not go through an investment banker. I'll do it myself.
Right.
And then I started preparing a list of all the companies who could be a strategic fit for Freshers World, either in terms of strategically connecting them and growing big along with them, or
Right.
to find a exit opportunity and growing them. In that way, I started connecting with a lot of them. I'm saying the typical way, connecting with them on
Right.
LinkedIn,
Right.
giving them a quick note and asking for a meeting, and then during meeting, understanding if there is something that we can strategically do and take it forward.
Right.
So so I've been doing with multiple players. So a lot of discussions are happening, and one day I incidentally pinged the same way the founder of Qker.
Okay.
And that was a time when Qker was acquiring a lot of companies, like Common Floor, and a lot of them they were acquiring at that time. So then suddenly the founder of Qker asked me, "Can we meet right now?" I'm saying in an hour's time, where we were at both the part of Bangalore. I'm saying I was at the southern part of Bangalore, and then Qker was at the northern part of Bangalore at Manija Tech Park, and he
Right.
asked me, "Can we meet at 2:30?" Where I think the time was around 1:45 or so. Anyway, I couldn't think twice. I've taken a cab immediately and then started off. I think I've been lucky enough to reach there during that time,
Right.
and then I met with them, and then we had a match. I'm saying, Quikr was very much interested in acquiring us. We had After that, we had 1 or 2 round of discussions again with the management. A lot of things were discussed, and we even discussed the valuation. I'm saying, without an investment banker, without a third party, we were discussing
Right.
this face to face. That's what I'm coming to. Now, when it came to that level, in fact, Quker was very happy to give us an offer with a very good valuation. But the catch was they said, we can give you, we'll have to do a stake share, uh, and then with very little cash involved in it. That was the deal there.
Right.
That is when I started thinking like, no, things are complicated, and then these are things which we cannot negotiate yourself, and you will need some expert advice. Then again, I went back to another investment banker, and then the same process again. I've engaged investment banker with their formalities, and then I put investment banker in front of me and told Quker, like, see, from here on, this
Right.
investment banker will speak with you for Freshers World, and then that's it.
Okay.
So then the investment banker started talking to the company, and then meanwhile, that's the job of the investment banker. They've also started taking your profile or investment memorandum to other companies around and other contacts that they have,
Right.
and they pinged our memorandum or information to various other players, and we started meeting other companies as well.
Right.
In fact, we met a couple of other companies, and so including LinkedIn. So LinkedIn also, we had a discussion or a couple of discussions, and they were very much interested. But somehow at the last moment, things didn't work out, and that is when we came across TeamLease.
Right.
And TeamLease was acquiring a couple of companies, or they had acquired 2, 3 companies at that time. They were completing the formalities,
Yeah.
and then we started talking with them.
Okay. Please continue.
Right. So yeah. So for us, it took around 9 months to complete it. We had different levels of discussion. We had a lot of demos to do, a lot of different exercise to do with them, and a lot of meetings were done with the investment banker, with the company, and a lot of the meetings we done with all of us together. And then finally, it came into shape, and our agreement was the team, the company who was acquiring us wanted us to be with them for next 3 years, run the
Right.
company further, and of course grow the company further. And then after 3 years, of course, the 100% of the equity will be absorbed, and then final exit will happen. So it was a 3-year staggered acquisition with earnout options, because they had committed a fixed variable,
Right.
um, minimum variable, and based on the 3 years performance that we do,
Right.
then the earnout pay will be based on that. So that is the deal that we had.
Awesome. And I assume that the 3 years period has ended now and come to completion now.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, our in fact, being startup founders or entrepreneurs, it is very tough for us to work in companies for
Right.
such a long time.
Right.
So, after working for 2 years, of course, when we were part of TeamLease, I was not only working for Freshers World. Of course, we were running Freshers World. Also, we were involved in a lot of other tech development and strategically building a lot of platforms for the company to be used within.
Right.
And hence we were involved. The fact is, we were involved in overall TeamLease business as well. And further, after 2 years, I had asked for an early release for uh, my work commitment, and in fact, they agreed to it.
Okay.
So I got exited out of my work commitment after 2 years, but still my transaction was to complete in 3 years, and that got completed in this March. So now Freshers World is a fully owned company of TeamLease, and then further I'm to.
Awesome.
Meanwhile, yeah.
Sorry, which brings to my next question. What are you up to now? Yeah.
Right. So, as we discussed from beginning, it's been a long journey. It took a lot of time,
Right.
and the fact of my or why I wanted to exit Freshers was to take a break and then start afresh. So, last 1 year whole, I was on a break. I'm saying I was doing nothing, but of course, every day, I was busy.
Right.
So, I used to meet a lot of startups, a lot of founders. I used to explore the market. I used to evaluate a lot of products, read about products, and of course, meanwhile, I was invest. Also, while meeting a lot of startups, wherever you find it interesting, you can also look at angel investing into those companies or helping them in different means. So one of the companies that I came across was NatureLock, which was selling this natural or locally produced products to be sold on an e-commerce platform across India. And they were doing good. They've started from Cochin, and then they were selling all the local products like honey, then Nadan products like Kodambuli, then Nadan cast iron, dosha rava,
Right.
and then നമ്മുടെ പൂവപ്പൊടി and whatnot, all
Right.
the local items that we get locally, but the people may not get it in cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai. Uh, so they were preparing all these products and selling on the platform, and then they were doing great. I'm saying I think they were doing a crore plus sales in a year, and then currently I'm mentoring and helping that company, and I think that's got a huge potential when we grow. So there is one area where I invested my time and effort in the last 1 year.
Okay.
Second, along with a couple of other partners, I've also started or been a part of or been a founder for a manufacturing company called Pulova Cold Chain,
Right.
which is into transport, refrigeration, manufacturing, which is the reefer units and the cold chain which you see moving, on
Right.
highways every day.
Right.
So we are in a manufacturing.
That's not my industry, so I'm clear about it. In fact,
Right.
I've joined that company because there were 5 or 6 of my friends who have been a part of that company as a director. So, and I'm sure they will be good at execution and operations of the company, and then I'm mostly as a passive investor there. So that is
Got
where
it.
it.
Sorry. You've briefly brushed upon this as well about startup investments. What type of companies are you looking to invest in? It's my first question. And the second one is, if you're able to help some of our founders, or guide them, what will you be looking at in them?
Right. See, for me, being a entrepreneur throughout, and then having done a company and then exited, and then currently looking out to start something all over again. For me, I believe like I'm saying I'm not very seriously into investing. I think that is something like a something that should be done at the retirement age when you're done with everything, and then you don't have too much time and effort on things to do, and then you will do that. So I'm not a serious or a full-time investor right now. I believe like there is time left for me to do another venture or one or two or three ventures or be a part of a couple of ventures. So
Right.
that is where along Pulova, I said I'll be a part of it, but I may not be actively there. And similarly, I can be a part of one or two other ventures, and then maybe primarily I can run one company further. And so rather than being a uh, serious full-time investor, I have continue to be an entrepreneur further. So I am looking out for my next opportunity, next venture, which could be in some products. So doing a lot of market study, a lot of market understanding, and then probably will come out with some products, and if it If we are able to do a bigger scale, bigger market for that, we'll do that. Meanwhile, if there are some companies which I find interesting and could be in any segment where I can contribute, I
Right.
can be either be a part of it, or rather than just investing, I can also help that company grow. I would love to do, and I meant that industry and segment which I understand. So I understand online space better. I understand
Right.
internet. I understand HR space. I understand recruitment space, and probably anything in that segment. So that is what I understand better. Other
Absolutely.
uh, segment I do not understand very much.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's it.
Awesome.
So
So
meanwhile,
all
I'm saying during this time I was also getting ready, or was exploring a lot of markets. So meanwhile, I was just to understand the Silicon Valley and the funding
right.
and ecosystem and area. So I've been so after getting out of my work contract from TeamLease, I've joined an accelerator program in Silicon Valley, and it was a course come accelerator program for 1.5 months in Silicon Valley, and then I was doing that as well. So it was more
Awesome.
about exploring that ecosystem and learning a lot of stuff, meeting a lot of founders, a lot of companies in Silicon Valley, and then understanding how they work, or how bigger companies of bigger scale are being built out of Silicon Valley. So I've spent 1.5 months there doing a course there as well. So there's also one great thing that I could achieve during my break,
Okay.
and we enjoy as well as I enjoyed learning about stuff there.
Awesome. So before we go to our next segment, I have two questions, quick questions. One is there any company that you wish you co-founded?
Co-founder,
Yeah.
right? Ola is one company. I'm saying I don't know the founders. I'm not personally connected, but being a disruption at that moment, I'm saying Ola or Uber, but that was a great disruption that I found that probably nobody thought about it before, and it made lives of everybody easier, much in a much bigger way. So I wished be a part of Ola
Okay.
in the initial times and to
Great.
start that.
And the second question is, which is your favorite book?
Um, I am not fan of books much. I don't read too many books, but Rich Dad and Poor Dad is something which I've read, but I liked. But I don't know, since I don't read too many of books, and then I may not be good
Sure.
at recommending books.
Awesome. So with that, we go to our next segment, which is called the photo walk, where we have a couple of photos of yours from your journey. Maybe you can, quickly go through that memory and let us know what that signifies, or was an inflection point in your journey. That would be great. I'll just quickly move on
Sure.
to
Yeah.
that screen. And here is our first image.
Yeah, so this was our office. I mean, today HSR layout in Bangalore, I think it's a hub for startups today. If you check any startup, mostly they'll be out, working out of HSR. But we came to HSR, we took our first commercial office after working out of 2 BHKs and 3 BHKs in Bangalore. So this was our first commercial office, and we took it in 2010. And I don't know, I hope we could have been one of the earliest startup in HSR to come up with such an office. And today you'll see plenty of such companies and such office, and all the
Right.
startups are based out at HSR.
Awesome. So this is our second photo, which we
Yeah,
already
yeah.
spoke about.
So about this, I've talked a lot. So this happened in 2019 when we got a gold button and we all celebrated.
Right.
And I think with each and every one in our company, we took similar photos,
Yeah.
holding the button and being a part of that celebration. And this was one of them. Yeah,
Awesome.
I like this is one photo which I like the most.
Right. And this is the third picture.
Right. Again, as I said, I have talked about how we went there, how it happened and things like that. And this was signed up in May 2017, and of course, I personally, for me, looking at signing up such an agreement for 3 years and looking forward, oh, how will it happen, or oh, next 3 years, can I still consider it as an exit, or am I still being a part of it for longer time? So all that feelings came at that time. But everything went off very quickly. 3 years was very short time, and then today we are sitting where it's all completed, and then I'm moving to my next thing.
Thanks. Awesome. And this is our fourth picture.
Right. So I said during these years, roughly 2.5 years, I know along with running Freshers School, we've been working for TeamLease. So we've been TeamLease is a much bigger company. It's a listed company. It's a public listed company, and then we've been working with them as well. This is the set of given by TeamLease, and their office, all my colleagues, all my management team at TeamLease, they were great. I'm saying working with them and working with such a big company at the management level was a great experience. So
awesome.
This was the set of thing that they.
Okay. And this is the fifth picture.
So I said, yeah. So one of the good things that I've done during my break is to be at Silicon Valley and be a part of a course for to learn, mostly about learning and meeting companies. And this is, I think, a couple of days our classes our program was based on a 500 startups office, and this photo is taken.
Awesome. And this is our last picture, which is something that you're involved with. So I thought I'll put it here.
Right. So COVID Flash, that site is still up and running today. Instantly after the lockdown started, I think from March, and we were very curious to understand what's happening in Italy, what's happening in Spain, and how is it growing, and what's happening in India, what's happening in different states.
Right.
And there were a lot of information on the net, just like, as I said, how I started Freshers School.
Right.
There were a lot of information. So there were a lot of websites which used to give traffic and data and for multiple countries. So I thought of having one platform where you can check everything together, just the information, and then the growth and traffic, the growth and the track record. And my idea was, if you can have one platform where every country, every information with India-specific information is available, then people can always check what's happening, what's the growth rate. And then I was also looking at a lot of analytical opportunities there. If you can look at the growth during lockdown and growth maybe beyond lockdown, and then take this graph and extrapolate and see if lockdown is taken off, then where can this data take for various countries. And we have a lot of data from countries where COVID infected earlier, and then India is at the second level or slightly later. And so I thought there are a lot of things that we can do with data. So that is where I started this covidflash.co. And the idea was more like giving the live data every day. So I thought about COVID Live as a website initially, and that was not available. Then I just thought about making it as a flash news website. So we created it, and then we had huge traffic. There were a lot of people following the site. And when I check the analytics, I can still see a lot of people from China, a lot of people from Brazil following the site, because of course, it was only the front end and the dashboard showing the data, presenting the data that we prepared. All the backend data is connected with Wikipedia and Worldometer and other websites, where automatically it is accessing the APIs of rolling the data on a real time and refreshing it every half an hour. So since we have done it in April, and then it's automated and left, and today we don't do anything on it, and it's showing data and then helping a lot of people checking their site.
Got it.
We have huge traffic. It's only for data, and then.
Sure. So with that, we come to the end of that segment and quickly move on to our final segment, which is a rapid fire segment. We have few questions for you. There's nothing serious. A few questions. Maybe you can take 5-10 seconds to answer a few questions. That's it. So the first question is, describe Freshers World in 2 words.
Just in time, I'll say.
Okay.
We were there when it mattered, and then later, probably when today, if you look at, there are plenty of information available on the net, and
Right.
then we were there just in time.
Okay. The second question is, what product would you refuse to promote?
There's nothing, anything genuine, anything legal, I would love to promote. But anything illegal, anything against the law of the land, probably I wouldn't want to touch it. So I'm a great fan of running everything legally, everything formally, and then that's it.
If you were to start over again, what would you do differently from your previous venture, which I'm sure you'll be doing it in the works of it. So, what would you do differently?
Correct. If I'm looking to start something new, definitely I will look to pick up an industry or a segment or a product where the market is big, it is scalable, and second, if there's an opportunity to raise funds and grow it much bigger and faster, then I'll do that.
Okay.
Because for Freshers World, it took so many years, I'm saying 13, 14 years to run that.
Right.
You don't need that. Probably money is available a lot today, and then raise investment and scale faster as long as the market is bigger.
Sure. What's the best piece of advice you've received?
Yeah, so being a single sole founder, I used to have 2 mentors or advisors for the company who were uh, advisors in the real sense. In fact, they used to be in the company every week. We used to have a weekly meeting, and they used to help advise in every aspect that they every aspect of running the company. And one of the major or one of the best piece of advice that I've received, as I mentioned slightly ago, is like run the company in all legal aspects. Right. So follow all the legal norms of the land wherever you are doing it, because it will help the company in future the coming times. And for our company, since we have done everything perfectly, and we followed all the compliances that we wanted to, and hence I think that is also one of the important piece that helped us during our exit with the company, because the due diligence is very tougher, and then the company which acquired us was a public limited company, and then they had a lot of compliances to complete, and then it was very easy for us to do. And I think that is one of the important thing that made us or helped us getting this done as well. So that is the best piece of advice that is where mentors, advisors help me.
Okay, great. Coffee or tea?
I take tea.
Okay, great. So with that, we come to the end of that segment as well. Joby, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and thanks a lot for spending time with us. Walking us through your exit journey, which we don't hear a lot. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for spending your time. Absolutely amazing speaking with you. Thanks a lot.
Sure. All right. Thank you. It was my pleasure, and I think this will help a lot of upcoming entrepreneurs, especially from Kerala, our community, startups. And I know if this helps, because exits and scaling up and big funding are always the pleasures of or the news that entrepreneurs love to hear every time. And being a entrepreneur myself, I used to read through a lot of such stories just because to get motivated.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if this also helps or motivates any entrepreneurs out there in Kerala, our community, then I'm much happy about it. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much.